Hi. In today's session, we're going to focus on using our body weight and the strength of the weight of our body in order to tap into and access our exertion recuperation cycle. That means that we're going to be using the strength of our weight to create force and also find moments of lightness, easiness. Now, some of you might find that when you access force within your body, it feels rather exertive. It feels like a huge expenditure of energy. While others might actually be surprised to find that exerting force feels recuperative. It feels enlivening. It feels satisfying. Vice versa, some of you might find that accessing lightness within your body and a sense of ease creates for a sensation of recuperation, while others might find that tapping into that lightness actually feels exertive and like that expends more energy. You might find, though, that some days you do this and being forceful feels really satisfying and recuperative, and other days it feels really exertive and like way too much for you. So I want to encourage you to play around with these exercises. I'm going to give you several different ways of accessing these. Use them when you need them and play around with what they generate in terms of sensations inside of you. So let's get started. First thing, I just want you to take a little walk. It's okay if you don't have a big space, but as you're walking in any direction and shifting your weight, just pay attention to how your weight is dropping down through your feet. Do you feel like a lot of your body weight is just dropping into each foot, into each leg, into each hip? Or do you feel like maybe you're not actually releasing weight down through your legs and into your foot, but just take a few steps around at any speed, even playing with speed, and just see if you can sense how much force or how little force is moving through your body, down into the legs, into the foot, and into the floor. And then whenever you're ready, just find a wall, hands to the wall, and then push as hard as you can into that wall. Continue to push, exerting as much force into the wall with this press that you possibly can. You might even start to shake, feeling your core engage, and then let it go and go back into a walk. You might feel like you're breathing a bit now. And then go back to feeling how much weight, how much force now do you feel like is dropping down through the legs? Or maybe even the sensation in your upper body, in your arms, in your hands has changed. Now you can go ahead and repeat that push into the wall, or you can go back to a wall and this time put your back to it. Stepping your feet out of it and pushing from your feet, pushing your back into that wall now as hard as you can. Feeling pressure into your feet, through your legs, up into the back of your pelvis, the back of your upper body, maybe even into your head, pushing as hard as you can with as much force as possible into that wall, and then let it go, and once again, go for a walk. Shifting your weight, walking in different directions, playing with different speeds. Again, feeling if anything has changed or woken up in terms of how your weight is dropping down through the legs, into the foot, into the floor. Maybe your torso, your core feels slightly different. And again, if either one of those felt better than the other or felt like something you wanted to repeat, feel free to do that. Or find a wall again, and this time take one foot to the wall and the other foot to the floor and just push the single foot into the wall. You'll probably feel your glutes light up. You'll probably feel your hamstring, your calf, your hip flexors in the standing leg. Push as hard as you can and then let that go. And then same thing other side, pushing the other foot into the wall as hard as you can. Again, feeling the chain of muscles, particularly down the back of the leg that's on the wall, fire up, and then let that go. And last time going for a walk here, seeing again if anything has changed. Maybe you even feel just a little bit more tired. Maybe you feel energized. But then allow that walk to dissolve Find a place where you'd like to be and imagine that you have a balloon. Not a helium balloon, but one that you blew up. So if you let it go, it's going to drop to the floor. So instead of letting it go, we're going to start tapping that balloon. Just tap it nice and easy. Keep it from hitting the floor, letting the whole body respond. Maybe you kind of just easy and gently shift it back from hand to hand and then begin tapping it again. And really just let your whole body respond to this imaginary balloon. And even better, if you do happen to have a balloon that you can blow up and actually do this with, that would be even more satisfying than an imaginary one. So feel free, if you have access to one, blow up a balloon and play with that. And then give it a couple tosses and then just let that go. And one more time, go for a walk. Shift the weight. See if anything has changed. And as you're walking, start to imagine that all those leaves that are left on the trees, not many because so many have fallen now, imagine them, those crunchy leaves on the ground, and you are trying to walk through them and not make a sound. So being really mindful about how you step, how you ease your weight into your foot. Making sure that you're not crunching those leaves, but rather being as quiet as possible. And then let that go. Go for a normal walk. Let it return to normal. And once again, as usual, feel if anything has changed. Or maybe your sensation hasn't changed. Maybe your mood has changed. That's a sensation nonetheless. And then last one with this, imagine all of a sudden now the floor is bubble wrap and you're trying to walk without popping any of the bubbles. So maybe you slow down. Maybe it's about spreading that weight totally across the bottom of the foot as you shift. Maybe you feel the muscles up top actually start to engage in a different way to be able to withhold some of your body weight. Just shifting around on that bubble wrap, either the tiny bubbles or the big ones, making sure that they don't pop. And then let that go. Walking one last time. Paying attention once more. And then finding a place to be in your space. So we have 2 more exercises. The first one is called a float punch. So we're gonna alternate between feeling a sense of floating, lightness, maybe like a cloud. I always visualize Glenda the Good Witch, how she just has this ability to be everywhere and take everything in, to find that lightness and that moment of sustain. And then we're gonna move into a punch, something that is very sharp, very direct, very powerful and forceful, very clearly quick to one spot. So when we do this, we're going to step out slightly forward to a diagonal, and we're going to float into that diagonal, trying to find it with an inhale. And then we're going to shift back, taking that lead arm and punch to the back corner, very forcefully. So we're going to inhale, finding a float, light, sustained, taking everything in, and then quick, direct, and strong to punch. Let's go ahead and take that a couple of times. Stepping up, floating, feeling everything in the body becoming light like that balloon. And then exhale, punch. Again, stepping up, float. And punch. Again, float. And punch. One more time, float. And punch. Let that go. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side, so we're balanced out. So we're gonna let's take 4 of these together. Ready? And stepping out, floating. And inhale and punch. Again, inhale, float. And punch. 2 more times, stepping out, inhale, floating, letting everything open up, dissolve like a cloud, and punch. And 1 more time, float. And last one, punch. And let that go. Go ahead and shake it out. That's always good when you feel that energy where you actually need to punch something but you have nothing to punch. Sometimes the air is even better than punching a pillow because there's nothing to stop that follow through. All right, so last thing, widen your base a bit. Give yourself some ease in the lower body. This time we're gonna harness float and slash. So with this, we're gonna have an imaginary sword. So starting from the bottom, we're gonna float up. Maybe as if a helium balloon this time, a huge one, has caught underneath of our arms, underneath of our hands, and is lifting everything up. And then at the top, we're gonna grab our sword and we are gonna slash down with an exhale. So we'll inhale, feeling everything floating up, and then grabbing the sword at the top and exhaling down. We're gonna take that through 4 cycles, and then take a moment, and then we're gonna take 4 more cycles and just let that go. Here we go. And inhale, floating up, and slash down. And again, inhale up, and slash down, and inhale up. Really embracing this ability to float, softening, light, and slash down. Last one, float. Nice and easy and sharp. Slash down. Go ahead and let that go for a second. Shake it out. Maybe be mindful. Did anything wake up in you? I know that the slash has my traps waking up. I think maybe I want to indulge in that lightness a little bit more. And here we go, last time. And floating up. And slash. And again, floating up. And slash. And floating up. And slash, floating up. And slash. And let that go. All right, so I'm a little bit warm. You might be a little bit warm too. But take a moment to just process and think about what part of those things, what end of that exertion or recuperation is needed by you today. Maybe you need to use some force. Maybe you need to get some of that energy out. So feel free to repeat some of the things that we did to feel that sensation of exerting force and being able to harness that. Or maybe today, lightness is really what you need to access. Feeling that sense of softening, of dissolving, of opening up and expanding your ability to focus and take things in. Maybe you need to embody Glinda the Good Witch because that's what feels good to you today. So go ahead and repeat some of those things that allowed you to tap into and access that. You don't always need to do both the forceful exertion and the access to lightness. You can just indulge in one if that's what you need. So find what you need and use it as often as you like.